To some, he was the devil of the steppes. To others, he was heaven's chosen ruler. But the truth about Genghis Khan is far more dangerous because it is the story history tried to bury. When we hear the name Genghis Khan, most of us imagine rivers of blood, cities turned to ash, and a ruthless warlord who terrorized continents. But what if that's only half the story? What if the greatest conqueror in history was also a visionary who laid the foundations for the modern world? This documentary is not about the man you've been told to fear. It's about the man you've never been allowed to truly know. In the cold winds of Mongolia, where the land stretches endlessly and the skies feel eternal, a boy named Temujin was born into betrayal, hunger, and despair. His story begins not with power, but with pain. Yet from the ashes of his suffering, he rose to command the largest empire the world has ever seen. His legacy is not just conquest, it is law, culture, and transformation. But why does history still choose to see him as only a monster? That's the mystery we must uncover.
Temujin, the boy who would become Genghis Khan, knew hunger before he knew victory. His father was poisoned by rivals when Temujin was 9. His tribe abandoned him, his family reduced to starvation. Once desperate and weak, Temujin killed his own brother in a fight for food. That act haunted him for the rest of his life, but it also burned into him the ruthless will to survive. In his suffering, Temujin learned the harshest lesson of the steppe. Loyalty was fragile, betrayal inevitable. Yet from those ashes, he forged a vision that one day he would unite the scattered Mongol clans into a force so strong, no man could betray them again.
The greatest empires are built not only on loyalty, but also on betrayal. As a youth, Temujin found strength in brotherhood. He swore a sacred oath, the Anda, with Jamuka, a friend who became as close as blood. Together they dreamed of uniting the fractured Mongol tribes. Their bond was sealed with blood, their promise eternal. For a time, it seemed destiny itself had chosen them to rule side by side. But ambition is a cruel master. As Temujin gathered followers, Jamuka grew jealous. The bond that once held them together cracked, and their friendship erupted into war. Brothers became enemies, and the land burned with their rivalry. From Jamuka's betrayal, Temujin learned a painful truth. Trust no oath except the one you swear to yourself. In that fire, he shed his innocence and began to transform into the man history would know as Genghis Khan.
What kind of conqueror gives women rights, religious freedom, and laws of justice while wiping entire cities from existence? Unlike the rulers of Europe or Asia at the time, Genghis Khan did not govern by birthright alone. He created Yasa, a law code that made even the lowest shepherd equal to nobles if he proved his loyalty and worth. Women could inherit property, manage affairs, and even command in times of war. For his era, this was nothing short of revolutionary. But this justice came with a predator's teeth. To those who betrayed him, the punishment was swift and absolute. Whole clans vanished, their names erased from memory. Genghis Khan ruled like a wolf, protective of the pack, merciless to outsiders. His law was both shield and sword, feared and respected across continents.
His army moved like a shadow, and by the time you saw it, you were already dead. The Mongol cavalry was the deadliest weapon of its age. Trained to ride from the moment they could walk, Mongol warriors became extensions of their horses. They could fire arrows at full gallop, feign retreat to lure enemies, and strike faster than messengers could spread warnings. Cities fell in days, kingdoms collapsed in weeks. But the storm brought more than destruction. As Genghis Khan expanded his empire, he stitched together the world's first global network. China's silk traveled to Europe. Islamic science reached Asia. Inventions, medicines, and knowledge spread across the world. He did not just conquer, he connected. The world remembers his sword, but forgets the vision that changed civilization. Genghis Khan believed in meritocracy. He raised generals not by blood, but by talent. A blacksmith's son could lead armies if he proved himself. This broke centuries of aristocratic rule that chained the world in rigid hierarchies. His empire also introduced paper money, protected merchants, and established a postal system that stretched thousands of miles. In many ways, Genghis Khan was centuries ahead of his time. While Europe drowned in feudal wars, the Mongol Empire thrived on trade, cultural exchange, and tolerance of different faiths. The conqueror, painted in blood, was also, in truth, one of history's greatest architects of order. Was he a demon sent to destroy, or a prophet destined to build? The truth lies in the shadow between. Millions perished in his campaigns. Persian poets cursed him as the wrath of God. Chinese records portrayed him as a beast. Yet to his people, he was the embodiment of justice, the father of the nation. His reputation split along lines of loyalty, savior to some, terror to others. This duality defined Genghis Khan. He was creation and destruction in equal measure, builder of civilizations and breaker of worlds. His name itself became myth, feared, worshipped, and misunderstood. In life, he became a shadow, neither man nor monster, but something more eternal.
The greatest conqueror in history vanished into the earth, his grave never found, his secrets never told. In 1227, Genghis Khan died suddenly during a campaign. Some say he fell from his horse, others claim he was assassinated. Another legend says he was struck by lightning. What we know is this: his funeral procession killed everyone it met to preserve the secret of his burial. His body was hidden, his tomb concealed, guarded by silence and blood. To this day, no one knows where Genghis Khan rests. Somewhere beneath the Mongolian steppes, the great Khan sleeps, his secrets buried with him. His death was not an end, but a mystery that continues to haunt historians and seekers alike.
One man's blood reshaped the world and still flows in millions today. Genghis Khan's sons and grandsons carried his empire across continents. Kublai Khan became emperor of China, founding the Yuan dynasty and welcoming Marco Polo to his court. Others spread Mongol power through Persia, Russia, and India. But unity fractured, and greed tore apart what Genghis had built. Yet his blood endures. Studies suggest that nearly 1 in 200 men alive today carry his DNA. His empire may have fallen, but his legacy still lives in the very bodies of humanity, woven into our existence. History remembers the conqueror, but forgets the creator. Genghis Khan's legacy is a paradox. He slaughtered millions, yet created systems that connected billions. He destroyed civilizations, yet laid foundations for a global world. He was the blade and the hand that guided it. His story is not of a monster nor a saint, but of a man who reshaped humanity itself. The forgotten legacy of Genghis Khan is this: greatness is always born of struggle, and power can both curse and elevate. He was feared as a destroyer, but history must also remember him as a maker of civilization. And until his true story is told, his shadow will never leave us.
If this story opened your eyes, don't let it fade into silence. Share it so others can see what history hides. Comment below, was Genghis Khan a tyrant, a visionary, or both? And subscribe for more forgotten